Have you ever wondered what would happen to your natural hair if you lay back in a tub filled with water that was saturated with Epsom salts, aka magnesium sulfate, and you let it kind of sit there for an hour? I hadn't either. It had never crossed my mind until I was invited to a sensory deprivation chamber. And in this video, I'm going to tell you how I prepared my hair for the experience, what the actual float tank was like, and then the aftermath, so that you can make an informed decision in case floating piques your interest too. Let's talk about the state that my hair was in pre-float. So my hair stays in the exact same sections all of the time, and it was in these sections, but they were twisted. So I had anchored roots, so these are plaits, and my hair was simply twisted. And at the end of each twist, my ends were wrapped around the body of the section, just as they are here. So I always wrap my ends like so to avoid single strand knots and other complex knots and other tangling that can happen with loose ends. So my hair is twisted, ends are wrapped. The first thing I did to prepare my hair was I detangled it with my leave-in conditioner and I retwisted it and I rewrapped the ends. I did that like maybe 2 or 3 days before the float, and that's something that I would do generally anyway if keeping up with my regular kind of maintenance routine. Then something else I did the night before the float was that I took my coconut oil. So I have this gorgeous coconut oil from Trinidad. It's actually a blend and it smells heavenly because coconut oil doesn't always smell good, especially not in your hair. I put that all over my ends the night before the float. And then on the day of, I took some shea butter. I unwrapped all of my ends and I plaited all of my twists. Put my hair into some plaits, and I want to make sure that I can comfortably pull the hair to the front. Oh no, it's starting and I'm not ready yet. Let me go tell them. I've just pressed the call bell so that they know that I'm not in there yet because I still have to just plait my hair. And they've already started playing the music. Okay, so he knows. And I'm not pulling tightly on my roots, but I am pulling each plait quite tightly just so that the hair remains super stretched and it has no way of tangling while I am lying in that essentially Epsom salt solution, the magnesium sulfate, because so many of you have told me how incredibly drying that is. And I plaited my twists in different sections. So you should be able to see on screen the process that I went through to plait all of my twists before the float. Once all of my twists were plaited, I then plaited those plaits and I pulled all of the sections to the front and I elongated my ends so that they wouldn't tangle. And I also used this Wonder Water from L'Oreal. I use this sometimes as a kind of midweek leave-in conditioner, and so I used this to protect my hair. And then right before getting into the float, I completely drenched my hair with water, rinsed it really well, and mentally prepared myself to be completely deprived of sensory information for an hour. Actually, floating was like nothing I've ever experienced before. I'm a deeply introspective person. I like to meditate. I go on walks where I introspect and I do like voice note journaling to myself. I am pretty aware of what my inner world is like, and yet floating took me a little deeper because there were literally no distractions. It was just me in this tub, not being able to see anything, very little sound, in complete blackness. In the first 5-10 minutes when they took the music off, I really felt myself get quite anxious. My heart was just thudding really fast, and I had to calm myself down because it was just this sensation of nothingness that was quite confronting. But once I got over that and I got used to the space, I found it really soothing. And the strangest thing was just opening my eyes and it being more or less the same as when my eyes were closed. Something else that bubbled up for me was my word for the year, which is safety. And it's safety in all manner of senses. So emotional safety, financial safety, social safety, romantic safety, all that kind of safety. And that was something that especially appeared to me during that time. After the float, I simply got out, dried myself off, enjoyed the residual serenity from that time in nothingness, and rinsed away all of the Epsom salty water from my hair. I then co-washed my hair. I'll put a picture on screen, but I used a co-wash. Yeah, I co-washed my hair because I didn't want to work with my clay in that space because it can be quite mucky. And then afterwards, I simply blow dried each section while it was twisted. Then I undid the twists and I kind of took 3 sections at a time. So you can imagine that the twists are undone, the roots are still plaited, and then I kind of plaited these loose ends together. So it would have been something like this, 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 and this, and then I just plaited all the way down. Okay, but just ignore the ends because obviously they're in their individual sections. But I did that. I plaited my hair all the way down using just my leave-in conditioner, and I wrapped my ends the way I love to wrap my ends. And then the next day I took my hair out for a braid out. I actually had a talk to give at a symposium for experts in the hair and scalp, and so I had been so anxious about having the float immediately, like the day before, just in case things had gone terribly wrong. But the next morning I simply took out my plaits and I had a really cute braid out. So this is the end result. So it's worked out okay. I was really worried that the salt would completely destroy my hair, and it didn't. And what a relief, because today I'm presenting at a hair and scalp health conference. And I was so apprehensive about this, so really relieved, and would strongly recommend doing this floating thing if you want to experience peace and quiet and feel like a brain floating in space. Actually, what we're seeing is the same braid out 5 days later. I hope that this has assuaged any concerns that you may have had about floating away with your natural hair. It was so easy for me to actually relax in there because I knew I had done literally everything I could to protect my strands from tangling, from matting, and from damage from being kind of just soaking in that salt water for so long. It didn't feel dry, it actually felt really soft, and I haven't noticed any negative effects from the float. My name is Asha, I'm a clinical trichologist, and I help Black women build confidence through their relationship with their natural hair. If you liked this video, you may enjoy checking out this one next.